Welcome to the PTSD Bunker Gear for Your Brain podcast. Post-traumatic stress disorder is not a death sentence, yet a rite of passage to a higher level of tolerance. Stay with us and come out of the darkness as your host, Carl WAGGS, shines a light on this very misunderstood disorder.
Welcome to PTSD, Bunker Gear for Your Brain. I'm your host, Carl WAGGS, and welcome to episode 296. Guys, if this is the first time you've ever found us, it's very nice to meet you. My name is Carl, and this is a podcast about post-traumatic stress disorder. But guys, listen, as I say, we don't get real medical here. Now, we look at things through the eyes of the emergency services, which is police, fire, ambulance, and dispatch, as well as correctionals and Coast Guard. And guys, I think it goes without saying military, right? Now, look, if you find yourself that you don't work in these lines of work, hey, it doesn't mean you guys have to take off. No, listen, these three little bastards of PTSD, depression, anxiety, well, sometimes they affect people in all kinds of lines of work. So no, hang out. It's all cool. Don't worry about it. Now, for those of you who do join in from time to time, guys, you know what the format is. Shall we get on with the show? I think we should. Well, look, guys, I've had an absolute blast this week with another week of WAGGS. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a tad embarrassing giving up all my embarrassing stories. But guys, as I say, I think these ones pay the biggest dividends. And look, guys, I don't want to waste too much time on the intro because I've got a really exciting show, because the tidbit of information that I have for you today is beyond unconventional. Yeah, listen, this one was cooped up in WAGGS' head. Listen, it's not a pretty place up there, but I'll tell you what, once in a while, I do get the odd gem that falls out of there, and today I would like to share this with you. Well, look, guys, it's no secret that I have a bit of an obsession with successful people. Look, not an obsession with the way that I find out where they live and I sit out front of their house. No, not like that. Look, I respect what they do. And guys, please don't get me wrong. I'm not respecting them because they're famous and they have all kinds of influence and a great reputation or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. No, that's not the reason that I respect successful people. I respect successful people because, well, quite frankly, they've got the balls to go after what they want. You know what I mean? Regardless of what it is, or regardless of where they live, and regardless of what people tell them, they know what they want and they go after it. I mean, they go after it with everything inside of them. And it doesn't matter if, they want to be famous rock and roll stars or movie stars, or maybe they want to be great mathematicians, or maybe they just want to have the biggest collection of Thomas the Train figures. It doesn't really matter, but the fact is that they are successful in their own eyes, not necessarily in society's eyes. And I think that's what's so amazing about successful people, is that they find their path and they stay on it. And they don't give a shit what anybody else says. They go after it. Now, look, guys, obviously this is not easy to do, okay? Because if it was easy to do, everybody in the world would be successful. Everybody would be happy. Everybody would just go after what they want. But I think we know that sometimes when we go after shit that we want, life is right there to smack us in the mouth, right? And the problem is when we get smacked in the mouth enough times, we're like, oh, screw it. You know what? That's not worth it, right? But the people that I really, really watch are the ones who go, look, I don't care how many times you smack me. I'm getting it, okay? I'm getting it because I want it. And guys, this is what I want to talk about tonight because, well, quite frankly, this is kind of where I found myself with PTSD, depression, anxiety. You see, the thing is that, okay, look, I was getting smacked left, right, and center. I didn't have a clue how to get out of it, but I know the one thing that I did truly want. I want to get back to a normal life. Now, look, I understand that word normal. Okay, that's a funny word, right? Because, well, it's different for everybody. But for me personally, I wanted to get back to what my normal was. And the thing was, I couldn't figure out how to do it, right? And this PTSD, depression, anxiety, it's a monumental battle if you don't know how to fight it, because it seems unwinnable. And anything that's unwinnable takes away our hope. That's what happens. And once you lose hope, then you just turn into a robot, right? You just show up and report for work, and then you come home and you sleep, and you show up and report for work, and that's all you do. You don't really chase your passions whatsoever. So the thing is that I wanted to figure out how to get out of this. This was getting to be too much. Now, please don't get me wrong. At the time, just so I can timestamp it for everybody, look, I was off work at the time, all right? I was seeing Dr. Story, right? So the thing was, everything was implemented, but I still couldn't seem to pull myself out of this hole. And this is what absolutely drove me nuts. So you know what I did, right? I started researching, right? And I started researching successful people. Not people that are successful in sports, not people that are successful in music, not people that are successful in an academic format. No, I'm just talking about people that go after their dreams and how they get it. And this is what I really started to study. So anyways, what I started to find was there's a lot of really cool people out there. You know what? That's the first thing that I found. You know, once you start researching famous people or people that are successful that aren't necessarily in the limelight and you start reading about their life, you learn some incredible shit. So this is what I kind of started doing. And I remember one weekend on Bunker Gear for Your Brain, all I did was for the entire weekend, I posted famous people's quotes. Right? And I thought they were incredible because each quote was like a little breadcrumb showing you how they got to where they got to. And guys, I found this absolutely fascinating. Now, look, I found a lot of stuff in that little time when I started researching really, really successful people to see how they obtained their goals. But you know the one thing that I found more than anything? It was how they utilized their mornings. Yeah, every single one of the people that I researched, they utilized the morning. And what I mean is they went to town on the morning. Like, okay, most of us, when we open up our eyes, go, oh, fuck, it's morning, right? No, these successful people, they looked at mornings completely different. Now, like I said, one thing that I noticed with these successful people is that not one of them, okay, not one of them woke up in the morning, okay, with absolutely no preparation whatsoever, rolled out of bed, okay, and then just threw themselves into this crazy world that we live in and became wildly successful. It never happened that way. These people planned their mornings out. Now, look, when I first started reading about this, I thought, oh, this sucks. I did. That was my first mindset. Because you know what? Me personally, at the time, I fucking hated mornings. Look, I didn't want anything to do with them. I would have absolutely voted for somebody to wipe mornings out so I never had to deal with them again. Because I remember my whole game plan when I was going through this depression, anxiety, was to sleep through the mornings. Yes, that's right, get up sometime in the afternoon. But the last thing I wanted to deal with was the morning. So when I started to read about, well, look, this is what successful people do. They utilize the mornings. I thought, oh, for God's sakes, can WAGGS catch a break over here? Why can't it be the evening hours that you really capitalize on the stuff that you want? Because I'll tell you what, the evening hours I was fantastic at. Oh yeah, I could stay up all night, not a problem. But get up in the morning, oh, what a smack in the chops. So anyways, I kept reading because the one thing is I didn't understand how they use these mornings. And this is what I want to talk about today. You see, what I found interesting about these people is that they used every single day like it mattered. Okay, now look, we hear that all the time, don't we? Oh, every single day matters. But no, what you have to understand is they used every single day like a building block. And this is what I found really, really interesting. Okay, so what they did was they built on each day. Okay, so if they had something that they wanted to accomplish, look, they fully understood that they couldn't accomplish it in a day, but they might be able to accomplish it in 3 months. Right? And what they did was they break down that major task, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter what it is. Look, we all have borders in our life that we don't want to push past. But what these guys did with these borders was, well, they took it a little bit at a time. And they took it day by day and they prepared themselves. But if we were to break it down even further, what they did was they prepared themselves for each individual day with the morning. Yeah. Okay, so what they did was they would take the morning, okay, and they would use that as, well, let's say some kind of foundation for the day. Because what these successful people started to understand was that if they could start their morning right, what this did was it prepared them for whatever they went up against that day, and it improved their odds. And guys, this is when the bell really went off for me. Because guys, as I say, look, I'm not here to cure PTSD, depression, anxiety. What I'm here to do is improve your odds. So as soon as I read that, a huge bell went off. See, guys, we can use this power of the morning with our battle against PTSD, depression, anxiety by simply preparing ourselves in the morning. Now, look, I understand that these three little bastards of PTSD, depression, anxiety, they have a tendency of taking our sleep. That's right. Insomnia is a major warning sign of PTSD, depression, or anxiety. So the thing is, getting up in the morning, we're like, oh, you got to be joking me. I haven't slept at all, right? But the fact is that, well, we have to start somewhere. That's right. Yeah. And look, I understand that the first couple of times that we do this, it's going to be really uncomfortable. But let me tell you what the benefits are of this. Now, look, guys, you've heard me talk about how important a foundation is in life in general. If you have a strong foundation, your odds of surviving a storm are better. Look, let's just take any kind of structure. I think we all kind of understand if the foundation is better, it can withstand a bigger storm. Well, guys, we are absolutely no different. And what I want you to do is I want you to envision that morning time as your foundation. Look, let me prove this in an example for you. Okay, let's say you have to be at work at 7 a.m. in the morning, okay? Now, I think we've all gone through this, right? Where you wake up and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, it's not dark. Oh shit, I've slept in, right? And you look at the clock and it's like 6:45. You have got 15 minutes to get to work and you live 20 minutes away. This is no good. So you wake up, you're like, holy shit, you don't even brush your teeth. You just grab whatever clothes are around, right? You know, the uniform or whatever you wear to work is, you know what, you haven't even hung it up. It's in the corner, it's all bundled up. So you pick it up, you put it on, you look like you've slept in it all night, right? You race to work because you haven't had anything to eat, right? So you're not in the best of moods, right? You finally get there. The person that you're supposed to relieve from work is a little pissed off because you're 5 or 10 minutes late, and that's how you start your day. Now, let me ask you something. How is your day going to go after that? That's right. Usually other shit is going to start going wrong because, well, guys, we had a rough foundation when we started in the morning, didn't we? Now, look, let me ask you if you got up at 5. Yeah. Let's say you got up 2 hours before you had to work. Okay, you got up, you took your time, you had a nice shower, you played a little music in the background, maybe a little Def Leppard this morning. Who knows? Pour some sugar on me. I'll tell you what, that gets me going in the morning. You come downstairs, you make yourself a healthy breakfast, you watch a few cartoons because that makes you giggle, you read a fun little story in the news. On the way to work, you've got so much time that, you know, you pick up donuts and bagels for everybody because you're a wicked cool person. All of a sudden, you walk into work, everybody thinks you're a rock star because you got donuts and bagels. The person that you're relieving thinks you're incredible because you're 5 minutes early. Now let me ask you, how's that day going to go? Yeah, that's right. That day's going to go a little bit better. Now the question is here, is it worth it to get up that extra 2 hours? Now look, the comfort side of you is going to say, fuck no, I'd rather sleep in, right? But the thing is the logical thinking here is, yes, it is. Of course it's better to get up a couple hours early because what that's going to do is that's going to set the tone for the entire day. Okay, and what a lot of people don't realize, and this is something that I didn't realize, is guess what? One day melts into another day, and melts into another day, into another day, into another day. And those days, if you line them up, they equal a week. Now, if you add that week to another 3 weeks, that will give you a month, okay? Now, if you add up that month 12 times, you'll have a year, won't you? Now, the problem is, guys, if we start every single day the way I talked about with the first example, guess what? Each day will just become normal like that. And that will become your normal routine. Okay? Now, look, I'm not saying that you're going to sleep in every single day, but the fact is you may only get up like 15 minutes before you're supposed to, right? And when you wake up, you only just grab a coffee or whatever. You don't get a good breakfast. You just drive to work. And the problem is that sets the foundation for the entire day. Look, if we consciously know the power of the morning and how this sets up, guys, we can piggyback off these great days. So yeah, okay, look, the first week or so when you get up a little bit earlier for work, yeah, you're going to be a little bit tired. There's no doubt about it. But when you start to get used to it, guys, you start setting up a foundation for your day. And what this does is this makes you more durable. Yeah, because guys, if I can bring this back to PTSD, depression, anxiety, we all know that these three little bastards throw terrible things at us throughout the day, right? Things that most air quote normal people don't feel. So the thing is, well, guys, we have to be more durable. Yeah, we do. And in order to be more durable, guys, we are going to have to prepare for the day. Look, no different than when you go in to work out and you stretch a little bit before you start working out. You stretch so you don't hurt yourself. Is that not correct? Can you imagine just walking into the gym, right? No stretching, right? Throwing 3 plates on each side and trying to bench press it, right? You're going to hurt yourself. Well, the thing is that day-to-day life is kind of the same way. If we don't prepare ourselves, then guys, look, the problem is that we're going to get hurt or we're going to get caught out. Now, look, taking it back to the whole successful people thing, look, the thing about this is this isn't easy. You know, like I said, it's not easy to get up 2 hours before work and prepare ourselves for the day. But the thing is if you really, really want something, like those people that become successful, when they really, really want something, for some strange reason, people, we just do it. Yeah, we do. It doesn't matter how painful it is, we were able to overcome it. But the thing that I think is so unfortunate, that guys, if we don't know what we're doing is good for us, well, why the hell would we do it? Look, I went through a span there where I used to wake up 2-3 hours before work, but the problem is I didn't really understand why I was doing it. So guess what? It didn't really last, did it? No, it didn't. You know, I kind of faded off and I thought, okay, well, this is stupid. It works for some people. It doesn't really work for me. You know what? Screw this power of the morning thing, right? I'll just get up 10 minutes before work and see what happens. But unfortunately, guys, when you have PTSD, depression, anxiety, sometimes that's not always an option. You know what I'm getting at? And sometimes we have to up our odds. So the thing is, as much as I always go on about having a doctor and a therapist on your side, and you know what, maybe medications are the way that you need to go, all that stuff, the one thing that I found made the biggest difference for me was, guys, capitalizing on the mornings. Yeah, it really is. And when you can set yourself up with that good foundation, guys, that's when we can start overcoming stuff that challenges us. Guys, no different than those famous people that we see on TV. Guys, what they do is they have to overcome stuff as well. And you know what I find very, very interesting about most people that have obtained something that they didn't think they could, and they became successful in their respected fields? A large majority of these guys went through depression, anxiety, a lot of them, because you know what, these men and women are constantly pushing borders. So when you're pushing borders, look, there's a level of uncomfortableness that comes with that. And the thing is that these individuals were able to prepare themselves for those challenges. Guys, when I started to see the similarity between successful people that have overcome things that they didn't think they could and people that suffer with PTSD, depression, anxiety, guys, the similarities are striking. They really, really are. And if you take time, please, I invite you to do this. Take 5 people that you truly, truly respect. People that you really like what they've accomplished. Not necessarily famous people, but people that you respect what they've done. And you're going to see that they went through some serious, serious hard times. And the way that these guys went through these hard times and survived was they prepared themselves. And they prepared themselves by getting ready for whatever it was that was being thrown at them. And if you break that down enough times, guys, you'll realize that if we prepare ourselves every single morning, doesn't matter what gets thrown at us. The fact is, our odds will be greater of defeating it. Oh my word, look at the time. I'll tell you what, I got rambling there because look, this looking at famous people, looking at successful people and how they obtain their goals, guys, we can go about this the same way. Now look, don't get me wrong, the whole PTSD, depression, anxiety is a bit of a different category, but when you look at the obstacles that these people went up against, guys, our obstacles are very, very similar. Yeah, they are. So if we can kind of take what they did, right, and kind of manipulate it to work for us, guys, we can start building our foundation. And guys, this is what I found really, really helped me to finally get me out of that hole and to push through that stuff that really, really bothered me, was the fact is I need to prepare myself in the morning. Yeah, trust me, it sucked ass when I first started doing it. But after a while, guys, you realize why successful people, well, they cherish the mornings. They do. Because when they get up early, guess what? There's nobody to mess with them. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And believe it or not, you wouldn't believe how quiet it is at 5 o'clock in the morning in this house because everybody's sleeping. Yeah. And you know what? That's the time that I really get to prepare myself for whatever the hell's going to be thrown at me that day. Hey, look, I have no idea what's going to be thrown at me. I really don't. But the fact is that if nothing gets thrown at me that day, my day's still better. Yeah. Because I'm prepared for it. I'm stronger, right? And the problem is if we don't utilize this in the mornings, guys, when do we do this? When would you prepare yourself? In the evening? Before you go to bed? That doesn't seem to work, does it? The problem is all the conflicts that you've gone through have gone through in the day. So guys, we really have to jump on this morning time, because I'll tell you what, when you're ready in the morning, buddy, you're ready throughout the day. So guys, look, as I always say, if you happen to get a chance to stop by our Facebook Live show, I think you should do it, because look, what we do is we take this podcast and then I do a Facebook Live about it. It allows me to get in the comment sections and talk to everybody. Seriously, I think it's fantastic. And guys, I'm sorry, but I got to leave you with this at the end of every podcast. If you find that you're starting to suffer with this PTSD, depression, anxiety, look, I got a support group called The Bunker Room. You send me a friendship request on Facebook to Carl Waggett and I'll send you an invitation to The Bunker Room. Hey, no problem. I think you'll really enjoy this place because there's a lot of like-minded people in there. So guys, look, I really hope you enjoyed the week of WAGGS. Look, just some little tidbits of information that I found really worked. I'd like to pass along to you guys. Guys, as I always say, it's not that any of this stuff will cure anything, but what it does is, guys, it improves your odds. Right? And when you improve your odds against something that frightens you, guys, it raises your self-confidence. And I'll tell you what, once you get that self-confidence, there's nothing in the world that can stop you. Trust me on that one. So guys, listen, before you go out there and take on the entire world, I would recommend you get your running shoes on and get yourself out there for a nice walk first. You want to know why? Because it'll do your soul the absolute world of good. You guys take care of yourself. We'll talk again soon. Bye now.
Thanks for listening to the PTSD Bunker Gear for Your Brain podcast. Gain more knowledge by going to ptsdbunkergearforyourbrain.com. While you're there, subscribe and comment. Join us next time for the PTSD Bunker Gear for Your Brain podcast.